Hey everyone, my name's Mike. I'm from ZL1 Addons. Today we're going to be installing our diffuser winglets that go on the 2018 and 2022 Mustang GTs. They're going to be installing right here using a couple factory points. And we are going to have to drill a couple holes and install some spacers. Let's go check out the hardware. So you will be receiving a left and a right side. The fin's going to be on towards the inside, towards the exhaust tip. So this is considered the right side. Obviously this one will be the left. And for the hardware, we will be using 4 cat bolts, 2 different size spacers, some locking nuts, number 6 screws, 1/4-20 with 1/8 inch spacers as well. The required tools we'll need for this install is going to be a panel or push pin remover tool. We're going to need a Allen socket, 3/16 in size, and a 1/4 inch drill bit, and Phillips style, either on the driver or handheld. So the first thing we're going to want to do is grab our push pin remover tool and locate these 2 push pins where it goes to this support right here. We're going to want to remove these, as we'll be replacing them with our hardware with spacers. Just like that. So once we have these push pins removed in the previous step, we're going to locate these 2 cat bolts that have 2 different length washers. One will be a little skinnier but longer. One will be a little shorter but fatter. The shorter but fatter will be used towards the front of the car. The skinnier and longer one will be used towards the back. There's going to be 2 of each ones, obviously 1 for each side. And we'll go ahead and start installing it. So we'll start with the short but fat spacer. We're going to go ahead and use the cat bolt with the washer. We're going to go to the very front hole, install it through the bottom just like that, install that 3/4 inch spacer up into one of the removed push pin holes that we previously removed, and we're going to install this locking nut on the very top side. You're going to want to just get it hand tight just so it doesn't drop too much, and we're going to go ahead and use the skinnier and longer one on this next step on the back push pin hole. So again, we're using the cat bolt with the washer, going through the bottom, through the spacer, through this top side, just like that. We're also going to get this one hand started, and then we'll go to our next step. So the reason why we use spacers in these locations is that we want to keep this angle flat and for it to look proportioned right on the outside of the vehicle looking this way. And it also helps this fin stay straight when it's paired up with our diffusers. So now that we have the spacers installed, we're going to go ahead and mount the rest of the hardware that we're going to be using. Starting with this next hole in the back, we will be match drilling this with the 1/4 inch drill bit through the bottom and installing our hardware. Using this 1/4 inch drill bit, you're going to want to go to the very back hole that's already pre-drilled on our panels here. And we're going to go ahead and go from the bottom, keeping the panel lined up. Make sure it's not, drill bit's not going sideways. You want to go straight up. We're going to go through 1 layer of plastic. And that's it. Don't go too far up because you might hit this or go through this top side of this diffuser vane. So next, for that hardware, for the hole that we just drilled, we're going to be using one of these 1/4-20 bolts, 1/8 inch spacer, and a locking nut. So same concept as before on the previous steps. We're going to be using the bolt through the bottom. We're going to go right through our panel. Then we're going to go slide our spacer in with our finger, or you can use a screwdriver. Just be sure not to scrape the panel. Through that diffuser panel that we got through earlier. And then you're going to install the locking nut on the top side, just like that. And you'll loosely hand tighten this, just like that. Using a 3/16 Allen wrench socket, or you can use even an Allen wrench by itself, we're going to want to go ahead and tighten the cat bolts from the very first step that we did through those big spacers. So now, since we use locking nuts on the top side, all you got to do is hold it with your hand, the actual nut itself, and just tighten the cat bolt itself. It will hold itself. You don't have to have a wrench on the top or anything. Go ahead and tighten these 2. Don't over tighten them because they'll squeeze the plastic too much. Just like that. And finally we'll tighten that last 1/4-20 bolt that we did earlier. Same concept here, just hold the top side with your finger on that locking nut that we installed right here. Phillips screwdriver, you can use this or a driver just like we are right now. Number 6 screws we have to install. One is a pre-drilled hole in our panel that you're going to want to install towards the front. This will pull this whole section up like that. You're just going to want to use impact driver, handheld, which might be a little hard to do. And we provide a second spare extra hardware that you can use pretty much anywhere on this panel to pull it up the way you like it, in the middle, front, or just additional support. We're gonna go through the bottom just like that. Make sure the two panels are touching each other. So when you drill through, just like that. So now that we have this number 6 screw installed in the front, unfortunately every car is a little different. To get this outside fin parallel with the other diffuser and the other side, sometimes it will require the additional optional screw to kind of pull any part of the panel up. You can install it pretty much anywhere, and you can see as we change the angle of this panel, it gets a little tighter here. So that's all going to be your choice, or how your car is. Maybe it's a little different like we said earlier, but this is the optional screw and why we provide it.